Okay, so we're gonna make bread today. First thing you gotta do is butter a pan, and I'll put the recipe down in the comments below or the description. But anyways, we're gonna start with the flour. So we're gonna put 10.5 cups of flour in here. So the power and magic of the internet. So that's 10.5 cups right there. Before you done this, I should have mentioned before. Get your sugar, water, and yeast ready before you do this step. And let it bloom. I didn't do this step, so I'm going to do it now. So, we got 5 cups of water in here, hot water from the tap. We're going to put 3 tablespoons of sugar in here. 1. Gee whiz. 2. And 3. Now when you put this sugar in, you're going to want to stir it up with a fork or something, just to make sure all the sugar is dissolved in the water. Reason being, when you go to bloom your yeast, you're going to want it to mix with the sugar as well. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to mix the sugar in with the water, so it's not all stuck on the bottom. So once that's done, you're going to want to get this stuff here. It's called quick rise yeast, instant yeast. That's what I use. And I'm going to put 5 teaspoons of yeast in this water. And on a really wet day, which is a dry day today, but on a wet day you're going to want to put 6. That's 3. You don't have to be real precise with this, but yeah, I'll put about 5 in there. So we're going to put this aside to bloom. And blooming means it'll just react with the sugar and so on and foam up. Let's see what it's like when it's done. So this recipe also calls for 3 teaspoons of salt. So I like to pour my salt over the sink because of spillage, obviously. 1, 2, and 3. Alright, so also we're going to get butter to put in this. I think I'm going to take 3/4 of a cup of butter, melted butter. When that's done, I'll see you in the next step. So what I do is I squat the butter in the 1 cup container, like you see. I squat it right in, so I know exactly how much I got. And then I will put it into a different container because you can't put metal in the microwave, obviously, to melt it. So I like to melt my butter before I put it in the bread, obviously. So that's the butter. We're going to put this in the microwave, and when we get that done, I'll be back. Okay, at this point your yeast should be bubbling up. It's been about 5-10 minutes, 10 minutes I guess. It's bubbling up so on, so I'm going to take a whisk and just whisk it around a little bit, get active as much as I can. So I want this bread to be really airy and fluffy. So I'm going to whisk it around a little bit, let it sit for another 2 or 3 minutes before I mix it into the bread. So I'm going to let it sit for another minute or so. Oops. And we'll see you in a minute. In the meanwhile, while we're waiting for the yeast to bloom again, we're going to take our dry ingredients, just mix them up a little bit. The salt and flour and so on, just mix it together. There you go. So Anyways, this is our wet ingredients here. That's our dry. So we're gonna want to. I'll make a little indentation. I don't know why I do this, but it's just what I do. Now I put my butter in. Three-quarter cup of butter. I'm gonna put my water and yeast and sugar in. Should have my hand away from this. Right into the flour and salt. I never mix my salt with my butter or with my sugar and water and yeast because it'll kill the yeast. So you mix it in after. So anyways, I'm gonna take this here. I'll clean it off first though. Silicone mixer or whatever it is. I'm just gonna dry mix it a little tiny bit with this, just to get it started. So I don't like putting my hands right in the wet ingredients. So I'm just gonna mix it around, as you can see, bringing it closer, so you can see this. Just try to get all the flour and the water all mixed together. Pretty soon we're going to have to butter up our hands and go in with our hands and start kneading. So that's the point we're at now. That's my puppy. But anyways, let's not someone knock on my. I'm going to butter up my hands and we'll be right back. As you can see, I have my hands buttered up, nice and good. So let's start kneading this bread. Start getting all this here flour in the mixing the yeast and water. Okay, now I got a good dough, as you can see. I'm going to leave this here in the pan now. Fold it in on itself a little bit. Put it in the middle of the pan. And I'm going to go get a sheet or something and put over this, a blanket, or not a blanket, but a towel. A cloth, tri-cloth. And I'm going to put it over top of this and we're going to put it in the oven. You don't turn on the oven, but you turn on the light in the oven. That'll put off enough heat for that to rise. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go get that. Now I'll just give you one more look at the dough here. Just so you know what it looks like when before you rise it. It looks pretty good. So that's what we're going to rise it now. I'll lay this over the top, just so nothing gets in it. And we're going to put it in the oven. So we're going to set a timer for 1 hour. Alexa, set a timer for 1 hour.
1 hour, starting now.
Okay, and we'll be back in an hour. So we got 2 minutes and 24 seconds left on our timer. What I'm going to do is put a bag on my hand so I can butter up these pans. Before I get the bread out, or the dough out of the oven. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to clean up these pans, put a bag on my hand, and butter them up. So I'll see you in the next scene. Well, our timer's up. We got our pans greased. Alexa, stop timer. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take the dough out of the oven, and we're going to knead it again, and we're going to set it up in the pans. So that's what we're going to do next. This is always the fun part. Checking to see how high it rose. So here we go. We're going to check to see how high this rose. Wow, it definitely doubled the size. It's good rise. So we're going to knead it out and set it up in the pans. Now, we'll punch the air out of it, is what they do. So this is what we're going to do. Should sound like bubble gum pretty well. Should sound exactly like bubble gum. Popping. If your dough is good, your air should be popping out of your dough. Anyways, so that's how much I need my bread. We're going to set them up into the pans here now and roast them for another hour. So instead of me making the big loaves first and not having enough to do the buns, I'm going to make the buns first and see what I got left for the loaves. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what we're going to do. So for the buns, I'm going to use about a little bit bigger than the golf ball size is what I'm going to use. And I fold it in on itself. So I just stretch it like that and fold it in on itself. Makes little like puffed sized balls. And that's what you should end up with at the end. Just put it in the pan like that. Now, as you can see, I got the buns laid out. These are the buns rolled out into the pan. Doesn't look really great yet, but we'll see how it turns out. So now, I'm going to roll up some of the loaves of bread. See if we got enough for 2 loaves here, but if we don't, we'll make toutons. Or something out of it. Freeze the dough or something. Make toutons later. And for those of you who don't know what toutons are, they're Newfoundland tradition type deal. It's just fried bread. And we put molasses over it, or butter, or what else do we use in it? Aunt Jemima's syrup or something. That's what we use in it. I know I haven't got enough for 2 loaves, so what I'm going to do is share it up amongst the 3 that I got in here. And we'll make a bigger loaf. That's all. So keep folding it in on itself so it looks like that. That's what I do. And just like that. And once it's ready, pop it in the pan. So we got, after an hour, we got 8 minutes left on our timer, but I'm going to cancel that now. Alexa, stop timer.
1 hour timer canceled.
So it rose. So we're going to put it in the oven. I'll put it on 350 degrees. And I'll tell you how long it's going to be in for when it's done, I guess, because I'm not sure how long it's going to be. I usually just go by the look and the feel of the bread. So we'll put it in the oven now. So it's been 22 to 23 minutes in the oven, and we're going to take it out and we're going to dump it over and check to see how the bottom is on the buns and on the bread, hopefully. I don't want to burn the bottom like I did last time, so take a little bit early. So here are the buns. I got to get on the grate. So we're going to turn it over and see what the bottom's like. Hopefully it don't fall apart. There we go. Now, I'm going to butter that and I'll get the other one in the pan and then I'll be back. So what I do is I put the bag on my hand again and get butter, and I butter it over as soon as it comes out of the oven. That way it'll stay soft. And you want it to cool down before you bag it up, because if not, it'll sweat. So that's how you make bread in Newfoundland. That's Newfoundland homemade bread.